Good shot. I'm going to go pull it up.
Hey, everybody, we're trying something new today. So please let me know in the chat if you can hear me on this microphone. Let me know if you can hear me. A yes, please. A thumbs up would be great. All right, now here's the big one. Can you hear our commercials? Can you hear the audio that's coming in through the show? We're trying something new. All right, you can hear my voice. Can you hear our commercials? You said slightly. Maybe that needs to be turned up. Where is that going from? Where is he? Is that going into there? All right, maybe turn that up good. Yep. How about now? Better. Okay, so a little more, yeah. Yep. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Okay. How about now? So this is important. You can hear the audio. Checking in. Blah blah blah. Just let me know. Hey Ty, can you hear our programming? It's about a 3. So 3 on the level of volume. Okay. Not working.
Not coming through.
Not coming through. This is so difficult to figure out, man.
Just about correct.
Yeah, if that's cranked, then I can't hear it. No. Yeah, he can hear Remy Martin. I think I can hear it through my headset, through my microphone, which is what we're going to eventually get to.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with this or this. This just has to do with it going through the board.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to check this out then because it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. So.
Okay. Good. Thank you for trying, and we'll shoot it. Because again, this has got to be figured out. This has got to be figured out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But wait a second. Ty, are you hearing it or are you just hearing it through my headset?
I told my buyers, let's get them.
Because they might be hearing it, but you tried it and you didn't hear it.
I was hearing it from the speakers. I know the difference between hearing it through this and hearing it through the speakers.
Right, you were hearing it through the
your
speaker.
mic, like I'm hearing you loud and clear, and I'm hearing Remy Martin about
Right. Got it.
5
Got
feet
it.
away.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. Appreciate it. No,
yeah,
that's what we're trying to figure out.
I will come up with something.
Yep. Thank you. All right. Yeah, we're trying to figure out how to get our live feed in through the YouTube studio. And we thought we had it figured out and we don't. So we'll figure it out. It's just gonna take a while. We're good to go. Thanks for coming in early. Yep, we're ready to go. You have any radar sound or anything? Did I send you anything?
I tell what you're sending.
Okay, thanks. You got my gig on the music, right? What I'm kind of thinking today.
Number 1 every day on this show, quarterback. I, JT the Brick, would like to trade into the top 5 and get a franchise quarterback. Oh, the big decision coming up. What do the Raiders need to do in the first round to get a quarterback? But I can tell you this much, that this team is going to make some big decisions coming up. JT the Brick. We need the Raiders to get back to a point where they're expected to win on their big games. Raiders need to get a quarterback. I don't know what it's going to be. The Raiders have to get it right this time. I think we're all on the same page. Or if you want to go big with a young rookie, and just watch. But I can tell you this much, that this team is going to make some big decisions coming up. And now, big boy Raiders.
Out of the gate, we start a new week on the flagship of the Silver and Black, Raider Nation Radio, and live on the YouTube stream where we got it going today. I want to thank Jared. He came in here, tried to figure out how to get the commercials and log it in. We're still not there, but we're getting closer and closer. We're troubleshooting. So what I want to do is every day I'm going to put my monologue up on YouTube. My monologue is the first 25 minutes of the show. I own it. No notes, no teleprompters. It's me just riffing. In that 25 minutes, hopefully we get a lot out of it, and then we'll get to guests and callers. If you want to log on, stay in for that. You can download the Raiders mobile app. You can listen to the show for free on the Raiders mobile app. If you're in Vegas, you know how to get us on 9:20 a.m. The Eclipse Day, and I just saw the eclipse. I saw it twice, and here's the moral of the story. You need the glasses. I don't know why I didn't get the glasses. I didn't think we were going to have the eclipse here. So about 11:20, a little bit less than an hour ago, I went on my front lawn with my wife, and my wife's really good on this stuff. She's got all the stuff. She's got drawers full of stuff, and we didn't have the glasses. So my neighbor was walking by, and the neighbor said, "Would you like to look?" And he gave us his glasses, and I looked up and I said, "Wow, this is great. I saw the eclipse." Now, it's not totality. We're not in a place in Southern Nevada where we can see the total eclipse. I got my buddies in Buffalo, New York, who I'm literally praying for. I am. I'm hoping, because they traveled up to Niagara Falls to see totality, and it is banked in clouds. And if anybody would have asked me months ago, "Hey, JT, do you want to take off from work and go see the eclipse in Buffalo?" I would have said, "Are you nuts? Buffalo, the weather's never good. Usually a few great days when it's nice. When I love Buffalo. I've got great memories in Buffalo." But my point was, I wouldn't have flew to see totality knowing the history of clouds. I went to college in upstate New York, Geneseo State University, the Harvard of the SUNY system, and I would not have spent my money to go to Buffalo because there could have been cloud coverage, which it looked like there is. I'm hoping the clouds blow out and they can see it, because I'll tell you, they showed the eclipse in Mazatlan, and they had that on the news live, and it was incredible. I mean, unbelievable. Totality, darkness. Everybody who saw it was in tears in Mazatlan in Mexico that they saw it, and it was beautiful. They put it up there. It was fantastic. So now, as everybody's chasing the eclipse here, if you went outside, so then I came in studio today, wish Bobby a happy birthday. Bobby's birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Bobby. Happy birthday for the architect of the show. And then a couple of our sales guys, my buddy Erod, took me outside, lent me his glasses, and I saw a nice part of that eclipse. So I thought you could get by, Bobby, with good sunglasses. Now I know 20 years from now, God hope we're all here, we can watch it again. So if you're watching the eclipse, if you're doing the eclipse, you think it's great, fantastic, and I hope you had a good time with it there. It's cool when you see things like that happen. All right, so tonight is the national championship game with the men. The women played yesterday. It was fascinating. It really was. Caitlin Clark. I'm going to spend some time talking about that next hour. South Carolina won. They were the best team. They're undefeated. One of the greatest teams of all time. And I hope we don't lose out on that, because the story was not South Carolina. It was Caitlin Clark. And for me, it was incredible as I sat here over the last 2 weeks and followed Caitlin Clark, as I saw a little bit of her play in the regular season. I thought it was a big storyline, and watched her play at Iowa, and then she's putting up these Steph Curry numbers, breaking the all-time scoring record, the all-time three record, the all-time tournament records. Everything she did was amazing. But a lot of people watched. And what I'm fascinated on is what's going to be her transition next. And I did this show yesterday. I was on Sunday live during the game. I'm on tonight again on Sirius XM, and I think it's a great topic. We are in Raiders no man's land. I'm not going to do Raiders when there's nothing to talk about with Raiders. Now, you might say, what do you mean? It's the draft coming up. The draft's in 3 weeks. I've covered it all. I'm going to continue to cover it all. I got a draft expert on. But again, I don't care what the other show says or what podcasters say. We're in Raiders no man land. I can sit here every day and talk about Michael Penix for 2.5 more weeks. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk about their pick. I'm going to have mock draft guys on to tell us where they think the Raiders are going, and then I'm going to do sports, because I'm a sports talk host, and I know I drive that home, but I gave up sports talk radio when I came to Raider Nation Radio, which is more important to me, Raiders radio, than sports talk radio, but I got to find a happy medium here. Okay, right, Bobby? We got to find a happy medium here. I got to talk about big things that happened in sports, and nothing was bigger than Caitlin Clark. Nothing. Now, in a week or two, nothing's going to be bigger than the NFL draft. I'm anchoring it again for the Raiders on radio. We'll have it. We'll knock it out of the park like we always do. And to give you some Raiders content as we open up the show here, it's all about what I put out today on Twitter at JT the Brick. I'm not a big poll question guy. I don't say I'll never do a poll question, but I'm not a great poll question guy. But I came up with one today, and I'll read the results throughout this 2-hour block if you'd like to get through. I'm on Twitter at JT the Brick. So I put this out 5 hours ago. Our countdown to the NFL draft continues today on Raider Nation Radio. Raider fans, here are your choices for today. This is just for today. Choice number 1, trade up for a quarterback. Choice number 2, stay at 13 and draft a quarterback. Choice number 3, best offensive tackle available. And choice number 4, other. So I could get your response on that. 50% of this poll that has 3,000 views already, 50% say trade up for a quarterback. 23% say best offensive tackle available. Stay at 13 and draft a quarterback, 18%. So what I get from these little poll questions is that, most people want to trade up for a quarterback. So do I. I want to trade up for Jaden Daniels specifically. I don't know if we'll be able to do it. So I don't know if we'll be able to do it. And what am I going to tell you in the next 2 to 3 weeks that's going to change that opinion? Nada. Nothing. I don't know. I don't know if Tom Telesco says we have to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do everything I have to do, and I'm going to get that second or third pick, and we're going to get the quarterback we want. Or I don't know if Tom's already said, look, no one's given us a return phone call. I'm calling. No one's getting back to me. No one wants to trade out of that pick with what we're offering. Now let's get ready. Get our scouts in the room. Let's break down some offensive line film. Let's break down some cornerback film, and let's get the best available player. There's good news and bad news for the Raiders in the 2024 draft. The bad news is they'd like to get a franchise quarterback, but they're picking at 13, and all of the franchise quarterbacks will be gone unless they trade up. So that's the bad news. The good news is if you take all the quarterbacks early, which would be 4, in that order, which I'm sitting with today, will be Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and J.J. McCarthy. I think Minnesota is going to trade up to number 4. Now, why doesn't anybody in a mock draft have the Raiders trading up to 4 to get J.J. McCarthy? Why aren't we allowed to get J.J. McCarthy? How come Minnesota is the team that's going to get J.J. McCarthy on every mock draft? Raiders have the 13th pick overall. Why can't we trade up to number 4 to Arizona and give up 2 first-rounders and the 13th pick and get J.J. McCarthy? I'm good with that. If I can't get Jaden Daniels, you better believe I'll take the national champion franchise quarterback J.J. McCarthy. I don't see one mock draft that has the Raiders trading up to 4. I see mock drafts that have the Raiders giving up everything to get up to 2 or 3, but no one seems to be talking about us at 4. Everybody's assuming that Minnesota, with their two first-round picks, they're going to be the dance partner with Arizona. We can dance with anybody we want. We can trade as many players and draft picks that we want to get up to number 4, but I can't find anybody thinking that we can do business in that 4th spot. So that's concerning to me. What do they know that we don't know? I don't know. But here's what's great about this draft, everybody, and I think Jim Harbaugh's proved it with his smoke screen. Jim Harbaugh wants the draft to start at number 5 because he wants the 4 quarterbacks, including J.J. McCarthy, to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's something I've been talking about. I'm going to talk about it more. So Harbaugh's technically in his mind, because he doesn't need a quarterback. He has Justin Herbert, who's better than all these other quarterbacks other than Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams will be better than Justin Herbert. I think the world of Justin Herbert. I think he's a great quarterback. I mean, not good, great, elite. But, Raider fans hate opponents, so I'm not going to try to win that conversation. So Harbaugh wants the draft to start off at 5. Well, he'll get Marvin Harrison Jr. In Harbaugh's mind, that'll be the first pick in the draft. He will tell you the day after the draft that the player he wanted was Marvin Harrison, and he got him with his first pick because everyone fell in love with the quarterbacks. So if the draft starts at 5 and we're sitting at 13 and 3 other wide receivers are going to go, Neighbors and Odunze, then all of a sudden that gets us to the 8th pick and we're 13. Now say that Joe Alt, the great tackle out of Notre Dame's there. That's 9 picks and we're picking 13. So we're really, if we don't get a quarterback, we're 4 picks away from 5 to 13 with the players I'm saying that are going to be pick before 10, we're going to get the best player available if we don't trade for a quarterback or take Michael Penix Jr. So I got to set the table with you and start really drilling this topic home. That's what we're going to be able to do. We're going to either be able to get the best available player on the board at 13 who's going to be a starter and a really good player, or we're going to take Michael Penix at 13 if at 12 Sean Payton doesn't jump in front. And I've talked to Denver insiders. They don't think it's a fit. And I go, what do you mean you don't think it's a fit? Why is Michael Penix a fit for the Raiders and not for Denver? If you're a fit for Denver, the Raiders, or everybody, you're fit for everybody. He could be the best player in the draft, everybody. He could be the best player in the draft. And yes, the draft's in 2 weeks. My mind's ahead of myself. And that's why we're going full draft with a lot of coverage here. But so where do you stand today? Because over the weekend, I didn't talk a lot of football. I talked about Caitlin Clark. Over the weekend, I didn't do a lot of football because it's the Final Four and I live in Vegas and we're the gambling capital of the sports world. So it's Monday. I'm throwing it out on the chat. I'm throwing it out on the phones. Has anything changed for you over this past weekend? Because we need to know this for our research to do our show. You know, we just don't do a show. We do a show with you, the audience. We want reaction. We want people to have a voice. We want people to sound off like they got a pair. So did you go to a bar over the weekend, talk to a Raider fan? Anything changed that I need to know about? I threw out that poll question. I got to kind of get a feel for you in Raider Nation on what you think is a good fit or not. But the other big thing that I heard, name drop alert, I went to a Rod Martin 70th birthday party over the weekend. What an invite that was. A lot of times I feel like I've known these guys forever, and his wife was kind enough to invite my wife and I. Jim Plunkett's there, Lester Hayes is there, so many of his former teammates, Reggie Kinlaw we got to speak to. And I talked to a lot of those guys off the record about the draft, which means I will not put their comments on the radio show because we're at a birthday party, having a couple of beverages, and they talked to me in confidence. But one of the things that I was discussing with the gentleman is, if we take Michael Penix Jr. at 13, that's a fact that he'll be the fifth quarterback taken, the fifth one. Do we want the fifth of anything, or do we want the first of something? That's the topic. Yeah. Michael Penix, here's why taking Michael Penix at 13 could work. He could end up being the best quarterback in the draft and got him at 13, and we didn't spend the first, second, third, fourth pick on him and have to trade up. Look at Russell Wilson. He was taken in the third round. Joe Montana in the third round. Tom Brady in the sixth round. The list goes on and on. But let it be said today on the flagship of the Raiders, if 4 quarterbacks go before Michael Penix Jr., which seems to be a lock, 4 quarterbacks, he'll be the fifth. If he is the fifth, it could be Bo Nix. But let's assume Penix is the 5th pick overall. Everybody's going to say that the Raiders got the 5th quarterback, and they spent a lot to get him in the 13th pick, and he's not even the top 1, 2, 3, or even 4. That's going to be said if the Raiders take Penix. My counter would be take Penix, and Penix could turn out to be better than, I think, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy. I'm a Jaden Daniels guy. I like his athleticism, and I love Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams is the best quarterback drafted since Andrew Luck. I think he's a lock. He's better than Patrick Mahomes, without a question. Better than Patrick Mahomes coming out of college. No debate. Don't think he'll be better than Patrick Mahomes in the pros because Mahomes is chasing the GOAT, but you never know. So that's where we stand today. And that's where I'm probably going to stand on Wednesday and Thursday and Monday of next week too. You know, we know what's going to happen. I just want to get a lot of opinions from other draft insiders who are going to jump on the show, and we'll talk to them. We got a good one coming up. Connor Rogers from NBC, really good. Looking forward to talking to him. What he thinks. The Raiders are working with me on Draft Insiders, plus Lee Steinberg, the guy who represented Troy Aikman, Steve Young, Warren Moon, Patrick Mahomes, Ben Roethlisberger. He's joining us on Wednesday. He's a legend at this. He's going to tell me very quickly, trade up, or don't worry about it. So Lee's coming in, and we're working on some other guests along the way. So that's what we're doing. The monologue's brought to you by PT's, the best happy hour in town. Today's a good day to go to PT's and celebrate the Eclipse. If you had a chance to see it, go talk about it at happy hour. Exchange selfies if you got a good picture there, and watch this totality that's happening across the country. Great place for lunch. They fuel the monologue. We appreciate everything they're doing at PT's. All right, the other topics of importance are coming in here. So I just gave you the Raiders' whole thing. They got the 13th pick. Do you want to move up? Do you want to stand where you're at? Do you want to trade back? Do you want to take the best player available? My gut feeling today, which will probably change, my gut feeling today is they miss out on the quarterbacks. They take the best player available, and he better be a starter. He better be a starter. No development guy, no development guy. They're all going to tell you, every team, every GM, every coach is going to tell you, we're going to develop a guy. We have a development guy at number 7 in Tyree Wilson. We have a development guy at number 7 from the previous regime. I like Tyree a lot. I hope he turns out to be the next elite player in the league. We took a developmental guy who was injured with a foot injury at number 7. Can't do that this time around. Can't. No chance. Max Crosby, Aiden O'Connell, Devontae Adams, Marcus Epps don't want developmental guys. They want a guy that can help them win a Super Bowl next season if everything clicks correctly. And as I said, I think the Raiders are on the verge of being a perennial playoff team. You might think I'm nuts. Oh, there he goes again. He's a homer. Oh, my God, he works for the Raiders. Oh, do you believe this clown? Everything he's – what? I don't know anybody more critical than I am. What more do you want me to do? Bang my head up against the wall? I told you I don't want to see developmental guys at this stage of Max's career. Developmental guys are 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round. 1st and 2nd round picks got to start. Opening day, they got to start, like Jacorian Bennett. Okay, he started. He didn't start after that. Okay. We drafted him to play. He played. He got some reps underneath him. We drafted Aiden O'Connell in the 4th round. We broke the glass. Jimmy G got hurt. We put him in. He was developed properly. He was, and he was ready to play. But the guy that we get with the 13th pick overall, other than Michael Penix Jr. or a quarterback who doesn't need to play because Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell are going to be the starters. They're going to fight out for that. The quarterback can sit for 10 or 11, 12 games. Anybody else, right tackle, right guard, corner, they're playing. I don't need a backup for Jack Jones here. Okay? We don't need a backup. We don't need a backup for Christian Wilkins at defensive tackle. We don't need that. We need a starter. We need a guy who's going to come in and rip some heads off. We need some guy who's going to grind someone into the ground on 1st and 10. They're going to run behind him, and he's going to blow 2 players up and open up a hole. We need that guy. That's what I think. Want to hear from you in Raider Nation. 702-365-9200. As we open it up, man, look at all these, man. Great Eclipse photos coming in. If you got an Eclipse photo and you're listening to us around the world, we got a national show here. Just send it to me at JT the Brick. Got a good one coming in from Raider Nation at DFW, Dallas, Fort Worth. Got another one coming in from Austin, Texas. Wow, Bobby, wait till you see this one. So some good photos coming in on the total Eclipse as we get rolling here. Again, happy birthday to Rod Martin. His party was cool. He walked in, he looked like Joe Namath with like a fur coat, black coat on with his rings, man. Everyone gives him a big toast, a hug, took photos with him. What a player he was. Oh, my God. How lucky was this organization? Not, I was talking to Reggie Kinlaw, Bobby. Reggie Kinlaw, 2-time Super Bowl champ, Rod Martin were both drafted in the 12th round. The 12th round. And Reggie Kinlaw is taken in the 12th round. Arguably, pound for pound, the greatest Raider draft pick of all time, Reggie Kinlaw in the 12th. I mean, come on. And the guy won 2 Super Bowls, and he was small, so people didn't want to take him high in the draft. So I'd like to see some late round picks work out here with the Raiders. I'd like to see some 6th and 7th round picks make it. And I think that Tom Telesco is going to come in and do a big job with that 1st pick overall. So I'm really excited about that as we get going here. All right, a couple other topics in the monologue while we wait for you. I don't like getting shut out. It feels like everybody needs me to calm down, Bobby, and just relax. So if you want to wait, number 702-365-9200. I'm open for business. If I was a pizza store or a bagel store, and everybody just sat outside my bagel store and listened, and no one bought bagels, I'd be out of business. So Twitter, the chat, the phones, wake up and match my energy. And it's hard to match my energy because I always have energy because I take the show super seriously as we roll here. Look at John Calipari. Remember we ripped John Calipari? He should have been fired from Kentucky. The minute he lost that 1st round game, I would have met the private jet in Lexington. I would have fired him. He didn't get fired. Now he's running away to Arkansas which is a massive step down from Kentucky. Not even close, but he's still going to get paid. He's got a lot of guaranteed money from Kentucky, how they put this contract together with the guarantees in Arkansas. So John Calipari here finalizing a deal to be the head coach of Arkansas. Our buddy Eric Musselman, who coached at Reno and went to Arkansas, now is at USC, closer to us on the West Coast. So hopefully we get a chance to see what's going on with him and talk to him pretty soon again. And tonight, UConn will take on Purdue. I think Purdue will cover the spread. I'll get to the moving lines coming up here. I like UConn to win. They have been beating teams by 25 points on average in the tournament. 25 points. They are absolutely destroying everybody along the way. I don't see them losing tonight. But if there was one day that's important to me for one topic, because Mark Davis bought the team in town, the Aces, they won back-to-back championships. They're really good. Mark put together an all-star team with future Hall of Famers. How's that? Not only does he have the MVP, he's got an all-star team. Kelsey Plum, who we saw Caitlin Clark break whose records? Kelsey Plum's. Okay, so Mark put together an all-star team and then put a lot of money into the building. And they have the best, by far the best facility, practice facility and headquarters in the league. The only issue I have is not in Las Vegas. It's a national topic. Did Caitlin Clark reach her ultimate potential in college? Not that she's not going to be great. She's going to be great in the WNBA, but people don't watch the WNBA like they watch the Final Four. 14 million people watched the game the other day against UConn. I believe the average for the WNBA finals, which was up 36%, was 788,000. It peaked over 1 million, but the college basketball, 14 times more than that. So it could be, and I hope I could be wrong here. This is just a topic I'm throwing out. Can she move the needle in the WNBA? The WNBA's got a lot of good players. We are the epicenter of the WNBA right now. We got the best coach in Becky Hammonds, who I believe will be the first female head coach in the NBA. So will it work with Caitlin Clark? Yeah, I think she'll play well, but will anybody watch? I think they'll come to Michelob Ultra and sell it out. And they're going to play even in a bigger venue when she comes to town, reports. So I think it's all going to work. But I don't know if people are going to watch it nationally at that level. I hope they do, because I want to see young women and I want to see girl dads and I want to see everybody out there who likes women's sports to gravitate to this topic. I think it's a really important topic. We saw something that was a phenom. I've been doing this 27 years. That means I've covered at least 26 women's Final Fours and the men Final Fours. I have never seen anything like this. I've never seen an athlete. Tiger Woods was different. He was the U.S. amateur champion, so we all knew Tiger Woods was coming. He was on TV shows as a little boy with Mike Douglas and Bob Hope. Google those gentlemen if you don't know who they are. So we knew Tiger was coming. And I can compare this to all different sports, including thoroughbred horse racing, which used to be our biggest sport in our country. 100 years ago, it was thoroughbred horse racing, baseball, and boxing. And there'd be a horse that would pop up and people would travel horse and buggy across the United States to watch race because it was a phenom. And then you look in other sports. Well, who was the latest phenom to come into the NFL, right? Like someone who just became famous in bowl season. Like you never heard of them. Then they played in bowl season. They were great. And then they came into the NFL. It's a hard topic, right? Baseball. We don't care about college baseball. You know that Caitlin Clark outdrew college baseball like college baseball never existed? Do you know that Caitlin Clark outdrew hockey, a professional men's sport, and lapped it? I mean, that doesn't happen in sports. Can you give me any other comparison to some athlete in the past that has ever done anything like this? I mean, she was bigger than the game. I have two comparisons. One is Larry Bird. Larry Bird, when he played at Indiana State from French Lick, Indiana, no one ever heard of until he became the player of the year in college and then went to the tournament and went to the finals against Magic. Then he became a household name. And the other one is Steph Curry, who played at Davidson, and his dad played in the NBA. So he knew that. He knew the NBA world. But Steph, when he played at Davidson, was kind of electric in one of the tournaments. Then he came into the league, and he's the greatest shooter of all time. That's what I'm comparing. That's what I'm comparing Caitlin Clark to. I'm comparing Caitlin Clark to a comet that comes across the sky. hate to use the word an eclipse. Every 20 years, we want to have another one. What, for 20 years? Something that randomly happens in sports that we see like a meteor going across the sky, and you're not going to see it again. 702-365-9200. And I'm going to spend more time talking about her in the game and predictions next hour. Snake Man joins us in South Carolina where they won the title. What's happening? Start us off.
Here in Columbia, it was a wonderful day yesterday. I am asking for a friend. More specifically, I'm asking for my wife. She wanted me to give you a listen, and she said he better make sure he talks about the South Carolina women. Well, I've been listening for 10 minutes now. All I've heard is Caitlin Clark, pun intended, but South Carolina women have been eclipsed right now by Caitlin Clark. Let's talk to South Carolina women and what an amazing program Dawn Staley has put together over here. They lost that entire starting lineup last year with the exception of Cordosa, and they have absolutely run through that tournament. They had a couple close calls, surviving the dance, like Jimmy V used to say, but they really bought a good game yesterday. Caitlin, after that first quarter, they pretty much shut her down.
Yeah, I mentioned Dawn Staley in the monologue, and I appreciate the call. Thanks for checking in. Appreciate you. Yeah, we mentioned her, and I put it in perspective, I thought. South Carolina, Dawn Staley, after the game, was so kind and classy to Caitlin Clark. Listen to this. This is when the confetti's coming down, and the head coach who won talked about an opposing player.
Personally thank Caitlin Clark for lifting up our sport. She carried a heavy load for our sport, and it just is not going to stop here on the collegiate tour. But when she is the number one pick in the WNBA draft, she's going to lift that league up as well. So Caitlin Clark, if you're out there, you are one of the GOATs of our games, and we appreciate you.
I've never heard anything like that. I have not heard anything like that from a winning coach to an individual opposing player. Have you? I don't. Maybe in a World Series, I don't know. Maybe some Joe Torre after Yankee World Series said, look at that player. Well, I don't remember that on an open mic during a presentation that way. That's class. I mean, that's a classy move by South Carolina, able to pull that off. And Caitlin Clark is one of those special people. She carried it. I'll say it again. I said it yesterday. I think it's a good line. If I was ESPN in Bristol, Connecticut, I would fly the private jet. I'd have Bob Iger at Disney send the corporate private jet to pick up Caitlin Clark. I'd take her to ESPN, and I'd name a building after her. Dead serious. I would name a building after her, call it the Caitlin Clark Theater, the Caitlin Clark Studio, because the amount of money that young girl put in ESPN's pocket with $12 million against LSU, $14 million against UConn, and the numbers will come out today. Say it's 15 or 16 million. The amount of money that ESPN was able to make off those games and charge their advertisers and partners for, and the increased ratings and revenue, a bag of cash. As the great philosopher Randy Moss once said, straight cash homie. They should bring a bag of cash or thousands of shares of Disney stock and give it to her, because she put ESPN in a place where they got a ton of money because she played basketball the last 2 weeks. Now, my topic is specific. She will never get that type of coverage in the WNBA. It's impossible. The WNBA is a great league. We love it. We want to win 5 in a row here for Mark Davis, but they're not going to get the TV eyeballs of 14 million anytime soon. And Caitlin Clark just got that. She put the 14 million viewers in the bank. So what does she do next? Does she go to Europe? No, she's going to play in the WNBA. Here's what I think she should do. In the next 10 days, her agent should tell her we'll never, ever, ever have this coverage again. You're the hottest athlete in America, hotter than the men, right? UConn men, Zach Edey, you're bigger than them. Let's go out and sell your name, image, and likeness to every company. Crest toothpaste, Wheaties cereal, Toyota, whatever car company you like to drive. And she should be all over mainstream media for the next 6 months, selling everything from Subway, Eat Fresh, to whatever she wants, because that's what life's about now. You got to strike, and she should be able to strike. Let me get to Al in Colorado Springs on the flagship of the Silver and Black. Go ahead, Al.
Thanks, JT, for accepting my call. I think I got a couple of things, responses to your question. One is I think Caitlin Clark and it would transcend. And the reason why it transcends is because the drama that her school that she had with LSU, her school had with LSU and with South Carolina. And we love drama. You think about it. When Magic Johnson and Bird came out, there was the drama. And that carried over to the NBA. So I think that if the WNBA can maintain that drama, yeah, I think people want to see some drama and good hoops. And she can shoot her butt off. But you asked a question about what would we prefer? If we want to stay at 13 or, trade up or, select the best player. And I think with the history of what they've been talking about, like the GM and AP been talking about is I think they're going to go from work to work inside O-line first. Just like they talk about the defensive line, they short that up.
Yeah. Mm. 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 Okay. Mm. Okay. They have to hit on this pick. Got to run, my friend. I'm running late. Thanks, Al. Appreciate it. Keep coming in from Colorado Springs. Thrilled that you're listening on the Raiders mobile app. As I said, whatever they do, we're going to get behind it. We want the Raiders to win. We're the flagship of the team. We're the radio station of the team. We want that player to come in and be a superstar. In the last couple of years, we've had Henry Ruggs, Alex Leatherwood, and Damon Arnett. We had Damon Arnett, Alex Leatherwood, and Henry Ruggs. Let that sink in. And that's why the team is on the verge of making the playoffs. If those players weren't selected and 3 other players were selected, where would the Raiders be today? Life changes. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. You don't know what's going to happen. But just imagine what those draft picks from really good guys who drafted them and people that I'm friends with and tried like hell to get the right guys in here. Imagine if those picks were better. Where would the Raiders be? So this has got to be a big one. And I'm confident that Tom Telesco's track record, how humble he is, how he just keeps it close to the vest, and he is in the bunker figuring this thing out. If he wants to move up, go move up. If he thinks it's smarter for the organization to get a starting right tackle, to be grinders on the defensive line and offensive line, I'm good with that. But I really wanted Jaden Daniels, and it just might be too expensive. That's 35 minutes of uninterrupted radio solo. Don't deserve a medal for it or a pat on the back, but we're on YouTube so you can see it. You can watch what we do. I'll jump into the chat. The monologue brought to you by the DeCastroverde Law Group. The brothers win. The brothers have your back. It's better than a 2-for-1 deal. 2 great attorneys and a legendary father who built the firm. They'll do whatever it takes for you to get the proper representation if you get into an accident. 702-222-9999. The total eclipse of the sun, the totality. Seemed like it was a good day for most of the country. All right. Woo. Anybody get a killer view of this eclipse? Anybody really get like, it looks like Texas got it. Dying to know what happened in Buffalo. Hey, Bobby, can you? Oh, it's too late. I want to watch some Eclipse stuff. WrestleMania, no comment from me. I don't want to poke the bear of the wrestling fans. I thought you liked wrestling, man. John Cena, The Rock coming out. Well, it'd be fair to say that they really go balls out for WrestleMania, right?
Yeah, that's
like WrestleMania is just everything, right?
Yeah, it's their big deal. It's their Super Bowl, so to speak.
Right.
It's their game time.
Mhm.
Las Vegas for our members built the Hoover Dam Extension Bridge, finished City Center, expanded our roads, and made Vegas the biggest stage in sports. Vegas is ready. It's game time.
Yeah, did you miss the Eclipse, guys? Hello, JT. Happy birthday, Bobby and Rod Martin. All right, thank you. Realist Raider, Bill, Tommy T. Hopefully work some magic. Miss MB says the Raiders have to be aggressive and trade 3 number ones for Jaden. Okay, well, who are they going to do that trade with? Washington at number 2? Washington's got new ownership. Magic Johnson, Bob Myers. I don't know if Washington's cares about 3 number 1 picks. I think Washington cares more about Jaden Daniels. I don't know. Oh. Take Fuaga at 13 if we can't move up. I would agree. That's probably the best right tackle that'll be available.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Early bird special, only $49.99 guaranteed. Hypnosis designed to work without anxiety, irritability, or weight gain. Early bird special, only $49.99. Become a non-smoker. We brought you the largest and the best.
Holy crap, it's getting dark. That cloud is dark as heck.
This is going to be self-time on this phone platform.
Look at that. I'm gonna record complete dark.
It's so cool.
We have a fire. We're with Mr. Kowalski. Mrs. Kowalski.
5 to 7 p.m. and midnight to 2 a.m.
There's a lot to be proud of, but you know, there's gonna be tears. It's sad that this is all over and this is the last time I'm gonna put on an Iowa jersey. So I think just reflecting back and soaking in everything I was able to do, because basically anybody other than me and Coach Blue never thought this was possible.
The Eclipse coverage on TV is outstanding. My buddies just checked in from Buffalo. They got beat. They lose in football. They lost in the Eclipse. It was cloudy. Unfortunate, because more people, 1 million plus people at Niagara Falls for it, and they just got hit by clouds. Did not happen in Austin and Cleveland and other spots. People got a lot of good looks at the Eclipse, and we'll see if it happens again. I saw it from here, from the studio, nowhere near totality, but it was nice to look up. We had a beautiful, bright, sunny day here in Vegas, so you could see the eclipse if you had the glasses right. So hopefully 20 years from now, we all have the glasses. I'm shocked that we didn't have the glasses in my house in a drawer. We have a junk drawer in our kitchen. I think I have a junk drawer in my bedroom, and there's a lot of weird things that show up in that junk drawer when you clean it out, Bobby. A lot of weird things show up over the years, but no Eclipse glasses. That was Caitlin Clark. It's very interesting in sports history to see an athlete who could peak media-wise at this stage. Now it's the responsibility of the WNBA. Notice I'm being very careful here with my comments. Very careful. I like the WNBA. I don't cover it as much. I'm covering more Raiders and other sports, but because of the Raider connection, I want to see this WNBA team do well, and it's real. They're back-to-back champs. But the coverage is much smaller than March Madness. See, so in college football or basketball, you go from college football or basketball to the NFL to the NBA. That coverage is equal, if not better. That isn't the case with women right now in sports when it comes to that. The biggest event for women in sports is the Olympic Games. That's where women become household names. Mary Lou Retton, the greatest swimmers that we've ever had, the greatest athletes who compete in the Olympics. That's where you get massive global ratings. Well, Caitlin Clark got those ratings, and she delivered on them. I don't know if she'll ever get anything near that again. So that young woman I don't think she seems pretty grounded to me. A young girl from Iowa. I don't think she's running around like looking to get more television ratings. I don't think that's what she's about, but this could have been her moment. This is the biggest TV moment of her life. I don't see how it could get any bigger unless we get to the point where the WNBA is drawing 13 million people for a game, which it's not. But maybe she can help with that. I think she's really going to be able to help with that along the way. A lot of Raider fans checking in on what's happening. I got a guy here, Jason, who wants to trade Colton Miller, not getting any younger on the offensive line, if not quarterback at 13. Well, I don't think he wants to trade him. He's making the point that Colton Miller is not getting any younger, and you want to get some help there. The help for me for the Raiders is a starting corner and a starting right tackle. I've said for years on the flagship of this team that I wish they got a starting right tackle in free agency. But a lot of times good right tackles or left tackles are not available in free agency because they're great players and the current team they're on just doesn't want to go find another one, so they give them more money and re-sign them. So ideally for me, a right tackle who's been in the league 4 or 5 years, maybe 7, been to a Pro Bowl or considerable career close to a Pro Bowl. I like those guys. I like those guys because they come in and they play with a chip on their shoulder because they want to win and they want to prove and they want to play another 4 or 5 years, and you get that out of them. Richie Incognito was recently a really good example of a guy who had a lot left, but he just couldn't get on the field. He was injured all the time. When Richie Incognito came to the Raiders, man, that was a good, solid player who was going to be here for a while, and he just couldn't stay healthy. And if he was able to stay healthy, I think he would have been fantastic. The greatest guard that I've ever met, and there's been many of them, the greatest guard in Raider history is Gene Upshaw. No debate there. There's been great offensive linemen for the Raiders, but I love Steve Wisniewski and what Steve Wisniewski, the Wiz, was able to do for this organization. You get a guy like that and you leave him alone, you let him play, and you pay him for 7, 8, 9 years. And that's what I think the Raiders will be able to get done here, possibly get done with a starting right tackle. Fuaga from Oregon State seems to be the player that a lot of Raider fans want to get. There are a couple of the other ones that are out there. Because I love the math on these first 13 picks. I'll even take it out to 15 picks. I love the fact that 3 wide receivers are a lock and 4 quarterbacks. So that's 7. Joe Alt, 8 as an offensive lineman. So you got 8 players who are locks to go in the top 10. 8 of the top 10 players I just named. 4 quarterbacks, 3 wide receivers. That's 7. And Joe Alt, the tackle from Notre Dame, 8. So after those 8 guys are off the board, that means that the Raiders are at 13. They're 5 picks away from getting the best player at the position. Probably not the best offensive lineman. That's Joe Alt, who will probably go. Is it worthy to trade up to him? Jason Marshall says that. Hey, JT, Joe Alt, worthy of a trade up? Won't cost much trading up into the top as much as the top 3, moving up 5 to 7 picks to get an all-pro tackle. Yeah, I would be okay with that, but why would Tennessee pass on him? Tennessee wants an all-pro tackle too, and that would be the player to go out there and get. So it's getting crazy here about what's going to happen, but I know Jim Harbaugh is loving it because he's going to get the best player available who's a non-quarterback. I think the Raiders can get out of the first round with the 2nd graded overall offensive lineman or the 1st graded overall cornerback. But if the Raiders do go corner at 13, then everyone, you know what they're going to say in the national media? Look at the Raiders. Look at the Raiders. There goes Fabian Washington again. There goes Garyon Connolly. There goes Damon Arnett. They're reaching for a corner that they could get later in the draft. I don't know. Maybe they get the corner that could go at 13 and start. That's something I'd be open to. The wide receivers are going to be fun because all three of the wide receivers, Neighbors out of LSU, Roma Dunze from Bishop Gorman, who played at Washington, was elite. And then obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. are going to get higher grades than the quarterbacks who are going to go in front of them. Higher grades than the quarterbacks who are going to go in front of them. And with that being said, the race is going to be on for some of those teams behind the Raiders. Can you imagine if the Raiders needed a wide receiver, like they were desperate for one and needed one? They definitely get one of the elite ones here, and they might have to trade up for him, but they don't have to worry about that. Raiders don't have to worry about linebacker. Linebacker, you don't take at 13. Edge rusher. It's the last thing the Raiders got to worry about now. It'd be nice. It'd be a luxury, but they got Malcolm Kuntz and Mad Max Crosby. Max doesn't come off the field. Max refuses to come off the field. They got Tyree Wilson. Last I know, he was drafted as an elite elite edge rusher, and now we're trying to make him comfortable on the inside with Christian Wilkins. If you want to make him comfortable and put him there, go ahead and do it. But edge rusher is something else that the Raiders could add depth to, but that to me is a luxury item. That's a luxury item. And the kid we had in studio the other day, Jaden Hicks, who my son's working with, Jaden Hicks out of Washington State, just had a workout with the Raiders. I don't think the Raiders need a safety in the second round. I don't. But if they did, he'd be a good kid to take in the second or third round. Luxury items are not a priority. What we need are the mandatory positions of quarterback, right tackle. I was going to say tackle. No, right tackle, quarterback, and cornerback. And we got to knock it out of the park in the draft. Got to knock it out of the park and get two of those three positions covered. The Eclipse Day. We're on YouTube. Do me a favor. Hit subscribe and like. Go to YouTube. JT the Brick YT for YouTube as we open it up today. I want to thank my friends at Grimaldi's, the best pizza I ever had. Friends in town this week for high school hockey. Had them over at the house for Grimaldi's, and they said, wow, this is the best pizza I ever had. Grimaldi's, proud partner of the show. All right.
Should be there for the Raiders as well. Steve and Kate Daniels would put you in the playoffs. If you do, why wouldn't it be worth it? For that reason alone, if you believe he gets you into the playoffs, then it has to be worth it. Unnecessary roughness with your boy Q. Weekdays at 2 on Radio
You gotta put top of the hour.
20 a.m. This is JT for Grimaldi's Pizzeria, that famous New York style coal-fired brick oven pizza that you create. Locations in the Valley, Polka Park in Summerlin, on the Strip at the Palazzo, Southwest Las Vegas on South Rainbow, and in Green Valley on Southeastern Avenue. Piliano Group is pleased to welcome the new dealership of the Palazzo Mall. Nissan Henderson. Looking for a newer used Nissan
I gotta give away a pair of golden nut tickets.
Nissan Henderson. Visit the showroom today.
Should I tease that?
Yeah, if you want it.
Right now, save big on remaining 2023 road inventory with 4,000 off MSRP, 0% APR, and $0 down.
So what do you want to do with this stuff we got?
Connor Rogers next hour. Do him, and then maybe that Keith Law guy.
Okay, we also still have the monologue. The rent.
So the rent, yeah, that's done. So I think I'll come out and we'll get Connor Rogers on, and then
The first segment will be Roger.
yeah,
Then the second one.
right, yeah, yep,
Okay.
yep.
If we were around,
Harry's in for me Friday.
Harry is in on Friday.
Correct.
I had Zero Res come to my home recently, and what I found out is that if I'm not getting the air ducts clean, I'm only doing it halfway. Because right now, Zero Res has the revolutionary new intensive air duct cleaning process, which is seriously a breakthrough in technology for duct cleaning, and it significantly helps me with my allergies. You will notice right away when you open the door to your home, it gives you that wow moment. Call now, have Zero Res come to your home and get the air duct special 10 registered beds for only $299. Call 702-840-3333 or go online at ZeroResLasVegas.com. Minimums apply.
It's Ash from Salmon Ash and Gear Law. At Salmon Ash, we don't just handle cases. We take care of people. Sam and I started this law firm to provide injury victims with unmatched customer service. We keep our clients informed as we walk them through the legal process with patience and clear communication. So if you've been hurt in a crash, call Sam and Ash, 702-820-1234, or visit salmonashlaw.com. Sam and Ash, because you deserve what's right.
Starting with one store in 1978, Boot Barn has become the largest Western and workwear retailer in the nation.
Rolling Stones tickets, Vegas, $924 with fees. Floor seats, GA, which I'll only go to. I will not. I have to be on the floor. What the hell? Wow. Woo!
You know, I found a seat up in the 200 section for $220.
That's a good price.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Feel the energy in the air.
We'll take hardcore Raider and
And
Devil.
speaking of energy, Dad, the real estate guys are here to bring some excitement to your real estate journey. Need some extra cash for that spring getaway? We offer cash advances for sellers if needed with no interest. Got a home that needs a little sprucing up? Don't sweat it. We'll handle the repairs to get you top dollar so you can enjoy the sunshine. And hey, if you got a distressed property weighing you down,
Even two
we'll buy it
rings?
for cash in just 24 hours. Spring is all about new beginnings. And
How
we're
do
here to
we
make
get
sure
two
your
rings
starts
like
off on the right foot. So
How
call
are
the
you
real
seeing
estate
it right
guys
now?
today.
Are you taking that two ring?
The real estate guy, LB.com, to check out our
How
five-star
are we seeing
reviews.
this through the cloud?
702-310-6683.
We're lucky.
702-310-MOVE.
I mean, really?
EXP Realty,
Oh,
license
wow.
number 3886.
Look how
Call
it's
for details.
moving.
Talk to Aaron Taylor.
The real estate guy.
Modelo is an official sponsor of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo
And
is
South Carolina.
Yep.
Style lager, delivering crisp, refreshing taste, brewed with fighting spirit since 1925.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by the Black Hole. Become a member of football's most notorious fans.
South Carolina, 38 games, 38 wins, and their third national championship. South Carolina 87, Iowa 75. 2024 is absolutely perfect for Dawn Stanley and South Carolina. They are the women's basketball national champions.
Westwood one on the call. Bobby's playing Eclipse music today. What do we have here, Bobby?
This is Heart of the Sunrise by Yes.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, good. Bobby loves old school rock. And so do I. We're a bunch of guys that grew up with old school rock, no doubt about it. Good to have you back here. The total eclipse today, totality. I just got a beautiful text from my buddy, best man in my wedding in Buffalo, and they caught it. They caught it a little bit cloudy. They caught it, and they got a nice video of it. And again, it was better in some spots than others, but we got to wait 20 years for that. And did not pass over totality-wise in Southern Nevada, but I think a lot of people were out checking that out. Raiders draft. Next hour, Connor Rogers from NBC. Really good. Had him on last year. Fantastic. And then every day, we've delivered a draft insider, and we're going to continue to do that. Every day leading up to the draft, my homework was to get you a draft insider. Tomorrow, we're going to have Ryan Wilson from CBS, who's also very good. That doesn't include Bucky Brooks. There's Rhett Lewis, who's working with the Raiders, Lincoln Kennedy, who I'm going to reach out to every day. Come here to Raider Nation Radio. I know Q's knocking it out of the park with all his contacts. He's actually going to the draft. I know the morning show is going to get some mock draft people on too. So it's going to be very busy here on the flagship of the Raiders, and this is a good thing. We're excited. All right, Hardcore Raider checking in on the flagship at the top of the hour. Go ahead.
Hey, JT, how you doing?
Good, buddy. What's happening?
All right, man. So, man, normally I'm not like one of those guys where I'm like, hey, let's trade everything to go get a quarterback. And there's a lot of times where there's quarterbacks that I don't believe in and the draft that are hyped up. This year, I think is a little different, man. If you look at, from Max Crosby to Devontae Adams and their contracts, I think we have this window right now, as you know, right? So I'm kind of repeating some of the same stuff. But here's what I want to say. If the Raiders, so Raider fans that Mike, I have two questions, I guess. All right. One is, were to trade up, and we traded a lot to move up to get Jaden Daniels. Do you think that Raider Nation is going to be excited and united? Or
they'll be if the Raiders are able to trade up with 2 to 3 first-round picks to get Jaden Daniels, he will be the long-term franchise quarterback for the Raiders, and we have checked the box for a decade. So I think most Raider fans will be happy with that. He's just going to have to wait a year to play because we got Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, and you got to hope the kid's going to be good. But I think he's a lock to be a good player in the pros.
All right, but my thing is, I think it's going to take more than that to move up, right?
Mhm.
And so what I'm advocating is what most people probably wouldn't want. But before I tell you what I'm thinking is, look, if we win a Super Bowl, we haven't gone to a Super Bowl in 20 years, right? We haven't won a Super Bowl in 40 years. So what I'm advocating is do whatever it takes. If we win a Super Bowl next year, right? We go playoff this year. If we were able, I know it's a big if, but if we were able to win a Super Bowl next year, who's going to be complaining that we gave up a bunch of stuff?
Yeah,
right?
but we're not
So
going to win
I'm
a Super Bowl. We're not going to win a Super Bowl year one with Jaden Daniels or Drake May or Michael Penix. They're going to sit. We got Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. The quarterback who comes here is not going to play in year one and lead us to the Super Bowl.
3 first-round draft picks, Aiden O'Connell, Tyree Wilson, and then nothing else from this year. But then next year I would trade like a second and maybe something else.
Okay. Okay, you want to go all in. I appreciate the call. Thank you. That's why you're a hardcore Raider. You want to go all in and win a Super Bowl. So do I. I'm a season ticket holder. I want to be there for a Super Bowl year. I've been waiting in Vegas. When I got hired by the team, my first 4 years, we went to the playoffs, 2 AFC championship games, and a Super Bowl. Thought it was going to happen every year. You know, got great players have come and gone since, and we're due to be a really great team. But it's going to take a great draft. Hour number 1, I say goodbye to our friends on YouTube. You got a good hour out of that, man. Please share it with your friends. Subscribe and share YouTube, JT the Brick YT. I'll be on tonight, also on Mad Dog Sports Radio, 4 to 7. I love being on the night of a championship. Could be Game 7 of the World Series, Tiger Woods at the Masters. I love me some championship radio. We'll be on tonight. Connor Rogers will join us from NBC at the top of the hour, NFL draft analysis. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Good hour today. I thank you for tuning in. Appreciate everyone. All right, everybody. Thanks again. Salute to everybody who's there. Thank you very much for tuning in. And please share this in a podcast form. Let your buddies know about it. Would really appreciate that.